since I made a video, but I wanted to kind of get back into the swing of posting more YouTube videos, especially more DIY videos of how I make or create different things, especially when it comes to pattern drafting. But before I go into that, I actually had like a fun little side project that I was working on, and I posted it and actually had a really great reception on both my Instagram and on my TikTok. So if you're not following me on those pages, make sure you follow me to see more like behind the scenes. Actually, what I created was this J.W. Anderson dupe of this bag. This is how it came out. This is the very first run that I did, and I did this in leather, and I really like the bag. There were a couple of things I did the first time around that I'm going to modify for the second go around as I record this video, but I really do like the bag. I just had to do a couple modifications with my sewing machine and just some like the construction techniques that I created. But I am going to show you how to construct this bag. You can use real leather, faux leather, or like another heavyweight type of canvas or type of heavyweight material that you want to use instead of leather as well. To create this bag, I will give you the free download for the pattern. It will be in the description below to actually recreate this pattern and recreate this bag rather and make the style. So for this bag, if you're using leather, there's a couple of things you may need additionally to create or construct it. Glue or leather cement, which looks just like this. Helpful. Of course, you want to also, if you're using leather, sew with clips as opposed to needles, because you can't poke through with the machine pins rather. So I just have a box of clips that I use to kind of put it together that you can actually help to sew it as you construct it. Also, you want a more of a heavier weight thread so it doesn't pop on you. I've been recommended Tex 40 for the needle thread and then Tex 60 for the bobbin thread. But if you have a heavier weight like leather or upholstery thread as well, that kind of works for the most part. I ran to Joann's really quick and got these. These are very heavy duty thread, which I think will probably work pretty well because I'm able to get the Tex 40 or Tex 60 at the moment. But I do know Walmart also carries them if you want to kind of be more particular the type of thread you use. Would be some edge coat. You only need a little bit of it. If you already have some, that's great. If not, don't worry about it. It's just to kind of clean finish some of the edges, raw edges of your bag. But if it's no biggie if you don't have it, it can still work without it. These help actually put the edge coat on a lot evenly. I got these from Tandy Leather, so if you have one, or you can go to Amazon and get some. These kind of just help you swipe it on so it's a more cleaner finish as you apply the edge coat. Main I think detail that I love so much about it is this gold like chain link detail. This is plastic, of course. On the actual bag itself, the designer bag that I'm referencing, it probably has real metal links, but of course couldn't find those. But I was able to find these gold links from my vendor online. However, I also found another vendor on Etsy, which I'll also link below, that has a lot of great options for these chain links. They come individually that you actually can just link together by putting them through by every single one. And you want a more larger link depending on the type of bags that you're making, because your strap width will be about an inch, I think 3/4 wide. So you want enough to kind of fit through the chain links, and that site that I'll link below, it will have those links for you to actually use. My original bag, I did use like a scrap of or like a remnant of some lambskin leather that I had. Actually worked pretty well to create the binding. You don't have to do this part. I decided to bind it, but if you want to leave it raw edge and just edge coat it, that's fine too. If you're using a woven, you can definitely make a binding, or you can actually use a lining instead. Just cut the pattern pieces twice. So this is the leather that I'm using. It's like a more lighter weight leather compared to the one in my green bag, but it works pretty well. I would say just get a leather that works well with your machine, that can handle your machine, the thickness of it. And one of the great things about leather is that it has no grain lines. You can pretty much lay your pattern pieces out however you want to lay them out. The only thing with this particular pattern is make sure if you're cutting two individual pieces that you're cutting it in the same direction. If you have two exact identical pieces of your pattern. So I do want to note that on my tab piece, I cut out another piece in a different leather that's a little more heavier weight. Just to give it a little more structure. You can definitely do it in double of the same fabric, but I just did one a little bit heavier to kind of like resemble interfacing for the most part. So once everything is cut out, you should have two identical bag pieces and two identical strap pieces and two identical tab pieces for your bag. After cutting out your pattern, make sure you're then marking your notches and transferring all of your markings onto your pattern. So starting with my tab piece, I'm going to go ahead and just mark where I want to place my magnetic clasp. And once that's inserted, I'm going to put that in. And I'm going to use the other leather piece that's a little bit more thicker to then glue it onto the backing of it, just to give it more structure. If you're using fabric, this basically be your interfacing, and you just sew those together and have it as one piece. This part is optional, but I did stitch around the entire shape of the tab, and I'm just edge coating it to give it like more cohesive look. If you are using fabric, then that part you would actually just sew together and flip it right side out with the interfacing. And then I'm going to just stay stitch the tab on the wrong side of my fabric where my notches were, and then use my binding to then close that off and to kind of clean finish off the raw edge at the top of my bag. You want to finish from the top of the bag to where each notch ends on each side of the bag to complete the raw edge. Now that your binding is done, you can go ahead and insert the other piece of your magnetic clasp to the other part of your bag. And I put mine on. I actually went ahead and added another piece of backing to that, just to kind of encase it so it doesn't show the actual hardware of it. And I just glued it on top of it and then kind of stitched around it to kind of get more of like a refined look to complete that closure. This step is completely optional, but I went ahead and stitch around the clasp to help restabilize it and to give it more of like a final finish. Apply some glue in a nice thin layer to one of your bag straps and evenly distribute that along the strap. Once that's on, take your bag piece and extend about 1/4 inch away from the edge of your bag strap, and then lay the other piece on top of it so it's evenly aligned. Once the glue has dried, go ahead and top stitch around the entire length of your bag strap at 1/4 inch from the raw edge. I use a scrap of leather to make like a binding for the end of the shorter strap. That way it kind of clean finishes that edge. Now you're going to put your right sides together, and if you cut out a 2-piece, you want to then go ahead and sew the bottom edge together. So I'm just adding my clips to get ready to sew it to complete the bottom layer. If you did it on the fold, you have to worry about this step. You can skip on and start to sew your sides up. Now it's time to sew your side seams together. I clipped right below the notches on the side to get ready to sew in that area. I will say I did kind of start a little bit above the notch just to kind of make sure I encase the binding that doesn't show on the outside, and then complete my seam on both sides of the bag. Now it's time to turn out your bag. If you want to square off your corners, just stitch across about 1 inch in and then trim. Now on to the fun part, attaching your links. I took one link and put it in through the shorter end of my strap and then folded it over and stitched it down. You can choose how many links you want to add to your bag total. For mine, I added about 4. And then once you have that, you're going to add your longer strap through and then create a knot to tie it over. I try to tie a knot over where the seam line of the bag strap extension was kind of going. That way it kind of hides that seam a little bit more and create a final complete look.